Hello everyone, here's a video that was shared yesterday. So this shows HIMARS targeting an S-300 SAM system and a 9TN6E radar. What's interesting about the video is we see a pair of HIMARS strikes first targeted the radar, but the S-300 launcher itself is actually hit by an FPV drone. This is the first FPV drone we've seen hit an S-300. However, there is some speculation that these could actually be decoys. So I thought I'd take a look and see if we can tell if it's a decoy or a real one. So here in the screenshot, there are what look to be markings through the dirt leading to the radar. Could be track marks. You can see zoomed in, faint track marks on the ground in the area. But it's hard to tell for sure if these are new. They do look old to me. And it's also hard to tell if they're made by the radar or not. But for me, these do look to be old track marks. They are very faint. As for the launcher, there are track marks looping around to it, which is a sign it could be real. But again, we just can't tell for certain if they're old or not. The biggest argument that it's a decoy is the lack of an ammo cook-off and the lack of a secondary explosion after the drone strike. However, this isn't really conclusive because you can see in this screenshot the drone actually missed. It impacted onto the trees on the side of the S-300. These types of drones are pretty accurate usually, as they're manually guided. This suggests to me that there may be some sort of electronic warfare devices operating here, which jams the drone. And I don't think Russia would waste one of those electronic warfare jammers on a fake S-300. So, as the drone missed, there wouldn't be an ammo cook-off. But the use of a drone here is actually quite concerning. An S-300 is a high-value target, and Ukraine having to use a drone rather than a HIMARS, I really hope that doesn't imply that there's a HIMARS rocket shortage at the moment. Hopefully it's just the fact that the HIMARS fired 2 rockets and we decided to get out of here before Russia managed to track down the launch site. The 2 that were launched were aimed at the radar, which is the key target, as there's far fewer radar systems than there are launchers. An S-300 battery features multiple missile launchers, but only one of each type of radar. Take out one of the radars and the entire battery is offline. Let's see the geolocation and see what that tells us. Blinsker on Twitter geolocated this to be here. This is west of a settlement called Mikhailivka and near a settlement called Buhas. There are quite a few Mikhailivkas, so let's see where this one is on deep states and see if it's the location where you'd expect an S-300 to be. And at just under 27 kilometers to the front lines, I would say this is far too close for an S-300. These are long-range SAM systems. Typically, the missiles being used by them, and we do have a lot of missiles, have ranges of 100 kilometers plus, depending on the missile used. Some as far as 400 kilometers range. However, there are some mid-range S-300 missiles, the old 5V55K and the 9M96E1 missile shown here, which have 47 kilometers and 40 kilometers max range respectively. And I actually don't think we can rule out Russia being forced to deploy an S-300 closer to the front lines like this than usual because of high losses of Russia's mid-range SAM systems. Russia has SAM systems from short to long range, providing a multi-layered SAM network, roughly demonstrated here, and this is a very rough demonstration of it. Manpads along the front line, then short-range systems such as the Strela 10, the Tor, and the OSA around 10 kilometers back or 15 kilometers back, covering the front lines in areas like that. Then the Buk, which we see around 30 to 40 kilometers back, usually covering rear elements rather than the front line. Finally, the S-300, providing long-range coverage, and then shorter-range SAM systems providing point defense of key targets, such as air bases and the Crimean Bridge. That's often provided with the almost useless Panzer for some reason, which is a bit like having a Yorkshire Terrier as a guard dog. The mid-range air defense is provided by the Buk. 94 of these on Oryx, confirmed as destroyed. Russia had 350 in service. So a big chunk of the mid-range SAM system here is gone. So given these high losses, I actually wouldn't be surprised if Russia is having to use the S-300 with mid-range missiles in order to provide this mid-tier range of protection and cover the sort of rear elements which may be targeted by HIMARS. They do have 2,000 S-300 launchers, so they do have plenty of them to spare. But I am inclined to think this is a decoy personally. There's too much going against it for it to be real. But I thought it worth taking a look and showing that this being deployed closer to the front lines than you might expect isn't definitely an argument against it being real, because of the high losses of the book system. I do think a decoy, but we just can't know for certain. There's nothing substantial either way. The tracks could be old but can't tell for sure. The lack of cook-off is because the drone actually missed. And the range could be because these are now being used in the mid-range role because of high book losses. So that's it for this video. Hope you found it interesting. Now I'm going to play a video from Cars for Ukraine about the ongoing fundraiser. Many thanks to everybody who's helped out so far, and take care everybody.
Hello Sukhomaimus audience, Ivan from Car for Ukraine here. Thank you very much for supporting the Medics campaign. 2 of the cars are already in Lviv and we are preparing them to be sent to the front line as soon as possible. In the meantime, you definitely know about the Kursk operation, where 3 of our cars we've managed to verify that are actively participating there. And we've received an urgent request that we hope to make a Blitz campaign out of it to get 2 super-powered trucks to the front line over there. Check out carforukraine.com/campaigns to learn more. Thank you, and together to our shared victory.